How many of you speak to ChatGPT or Grok 20 minutes every month? Sheila's hands are up. Okay, you guys are doing good. Every month. And I'm not saying texting. I'm talking about speaking. Speaking, actually having conversations. Okay, it's very important. So part of your homework or task when you leave today is to commit to 20 minutes a day speaking to AI. I've always said this, and you guys have heard this loud and clear. You don't have to master the technology. You got to use it. And that's what sometimes I feel as dentists, we're so meticulous, we're so detailed driven, and we want to know everything about the thing that we're working with because that's how our minds work. We work in a small space. We're very detailed focus. You have to wipe all that clear and say, okay, I have to use it, not master it. And in using it, I become a master of it. Because remember, there's nobody that's the expert. This is a big human experiment. We are all learning as we go. Remember when Google came out? It was like, holy moly, this is kind of cool. I could figure out where local restaurants are. It's used for very basic things. And you could figure out where, simple answers to questions. How warm is the sun, right? Or why is the sky blue? Right? Simple answers to questions people would put into Google. But here's the biggest mistake people, our generation and beyond, make with AI. We treat artificial intelligence like Google search. It's not Google search. If you're going into AI and you're just typing in a one-liner, yeah, it's great if you want to know, hey, how do you convert 50 Fahrenheit into centigrade? Or, what is 25 kilograms in pounds? That's fine. But if for the deeper questions, if you're just putting into your prompt a simple one-liner and you're treating AI like Google search, it's like going to the internet gods and asking them a basic question when you could ask them way more. So you have to understand how to engineer your prompt. Okay, we're going to talk about that first, and then we're going to showcase that here. And today we're going to have a conversation live with an LLM. An LLM is a large language model. There's multiple of these out there. There's ChatGPT, there's Grok, there's Perplexity, there's all these LLMs out there. And I'm going to focus on the most common one that we all kind of know, and a second one as well. One is ChatGPT, and the other one is Grok. And then I want to show you how I use it and how I think, based on what I've learned, is a good way to use it. And you guys are going to be able to chime in because I know that I'm not the only one that's using this. And I'm by no means am I the expert here. But remember what I said. You got to use it to learn it. Don't learn it to use it. It's the other way. That's the wrong thinking. Learning it to use it is wrong. It is old world thinking. It's conventional thinking. It's easy to get stuck in that trap. I have to learn it to use it. No, because you're going to keep learning it because there's no end to the learning. So you got to use it to learn it. I want you to think of it that way. All breakthroughs start with a shift in thinking. All breakthroughs start with a shift in thinking. The first shift you're going to go for, the first shift you're going to have in your thinking is you're going to commit to using it for 20 minutes a day. And what you're going to do is speak to it. And you're going to move from search mentality to solutions. Okay, it's a big difference. Solutions. And this means you have to do effective prompts. You have to prompt your AI effectively. And in doing this, I'm going to also make this other suggestion. If you have an AI that you're using for your office, but then you go home and you give your 7-year-old, like you let them play with the same AI, don't do that. Have them do a different login. Different login. So in your office, you're going to log into ChatGPT, Grok with your email, your office stuff. Cool. Because the reason you're doing this is the way you have to think about this is in doing this, you are going to be building your own custom brain. Okay? That's the goal, is you're building the brain. So you don't want to pollute the brain with your daughter's friend who came over and was asking about, Wicked the movie, or Elsa and Anna in Frozen. That's a little old school. My daughter would make fun of me on that one. Or, right? Lilo and Stitch. That's out right now. Okay? See, I'm relevant. So you don't want to pollute the office stuff with the other stuff. So what you're doing is you're building the office brain. And the reason you're doing this is because the more you pour into this bucket, the more you pour into the bucket, it's the AI bucket, the more you pour into it, if you're up to here, the better the output. Okay? The better the answers are going to be. And not only the answers, but the better the brainstorming, and it's just going to be more effective. Now, I may be off because it may say, Ranesh, no, it's going to be able to map your whole life, and it's totally fine. But this is how we're going to start. You're going to look at it like a brain, and your goal is to keep that brain pure and build the brain for the solutions that you're looking for. Okay? Build the brain for the solutions that you're looking for. So, which means that if you're doing $500,000 a year in your practice, and you want to know how to go to $1 million, you have that, those consultants that used to come to our office and they used to charge us like $30,000 for like 6 months. Like that industry wiped out, dude. That is out. Like who's paying that? Who's paying that? There's no way. That is out. Those guys are out. Those high-ticket consultants. Because if they're teaching content, they're going to be replaced. If they're teaching perspective, it's a different approach. So what we want to do is understand we're building a brain, and that brain is our office brain. And it's like you have your ultimate coach that's ready to help you in your practice. It can give you an office manual. It can give you templates. It can give you like best practices. It can give you spreadsheets. Everything you need to get your business moving, it's going to be able to give you that. Okay? So it comes down to understanding you're going from search to solutions and to prompting, prompt engineering. What we're going to exemplify today is how to engineer a good prompt. And some of you may say, okay, Ranesh, I've tried this other thing and this works good too. Awesome. Let's keep those suggestions coming. But in a simple way, when you engineer a prompt, you must have a few things in mind. You must be doing a few things. The first thing is you have to give the brain or the prompt some history. If you want a good answer, some history, some background as to where you're coming from, what you're doing. Right? I want to keep it very simple. So you start off with a little history. You're going to speak to it as if you're speaking to the greatest superpower consultant, mentor, guide there is. So you're going to give it some history. And this history may take the form of spreadsheets. It may, hey, I uploaded the last 3 years of my deposit slip. Just upload it all. I uploaded my production by procedure reports. That's history for the last 3 years. I uploaded, because production by procedure is powerful because you can see how much of your practice came from crown and bridge, how much of it came from hygiene, how much of it came from implants, how much of it came from composites, right? You can see everything. So the more you upload and the more history and background you give it, the more context it's going to have to guide you, right? I never used to do this. I should just do it like this, treat it like search. Here's what I'm doing, this is what I want, can you give me this? No, you got to take some time to prompt it. Now, some of you that are ahead of the game are also probably thinking, can I have ChatGPT write me a good prompt to prompt it? The answer is yes, you can do that too. But let's start here. So you got to upload history, and then you have to give it a role. So history, and then you got to give it a role. What is the role you want it to play? So I'll give you an example, and we'll use this same example when we do this. We're going to have a live conversation with ChatGPT in just a second. So one role could be, hey, I'm in my third practice. We're doing about $800,000 a year. I uploaded my production by procedure numbers to you for the last 3 years. We have one associate who works full-time. We have a hygienist who's there 3 days a week. And I'm there twice a month. We do about $800,000 a year. Our goal is to go to $2 million a year. Give me some steps in order to do that. What do I have to modify with my team? And I already have 2 front office, 3 back office. A lot of the cosmetic stuff we do is Zoom whitening, but I also want to do some higher cosmetic cases. Give me some guidelines on how to approach doing that. What do I need to modify with my team, my marketing, and also the way I handle my patients in the office? What are some good first steps to start with? Play the role as my practice consultant and my marketing director. How would you approach this? That's a prompt, you guys. That's a prompt. I gave it some history. I may have uploaded stuff. I'm giving it a role, and then I'm assigning it a clear solution. Okay, so a solution is, what do you want, right? What do you want? Well, in this case, and we'll do the same exact prompt. Well, in this case, maybe we want to hit 2 million, right? We're doing 800. We want to hit 2 million a year. So that's my prompt. And then you got to season through what ideas come from that. And you got to have this conversation back and forth. And if something happens in your office where you have an assistant or a hygienist who's afraid of, I have a hygienist, but she doesn't place local medicaments. She doesn't do this. She doesn't place the perio chip. She doesn't go in there and she talk to patients about this. What do you think is a good way for me to motivate her or incentivize her to do local medicaments for any sort of perio pockets we see that are 5 or 7 millimeters and beyond? What are some good ways to do this? Oh, and thinking about it from that angle, is there something we can set up where if there's a 7 millimeter pocket, we can have our periodontist come and look at this? Is there like a system or some sort of kind of thought flow that could lead to the periodontist looking at this? Can you maybe help me create that? Do you see where I'm going with this? I'm thinking, does this make sense? How many of you are using it from this, with this detail? I know some of you probably are. Okay, be honest, because I'll be honest, I was not using it like this. I actually had a breakthrough with this months ago when it was Adam on my digital marketing team sent me a prompt that he used. And I was just like, man, I'm doing it all wrong, because I was using it like search, like Google search. I would type in a one-liner and I would want an answer. And what Adam was doing was this. He would give it like literally history. He'd give it a role, like act as my marketing director. He'd give it a role, and he would give it clear solutions. But he took like 10 times longer to prompt it than I took. So I was like, ooh, that was a big aha moment for me, because I was like, I'm doing it all wrong. So when I shifted this, I started to get better data, better insights, and real actionables from these models. And then what I did was I asked the same question, and I'd have the same conversation with one model as I did with another model. So I'd start with ChatGPT, and then I would go with Grok. And the reason I say Grok, and many of you should just have all these in a folder on your phone. You should just create a folder for AI apps, because Grok, which is owned by xAI, has the largest amount of compute. Compute means computer-generated energy, computer-generated tasks. It has the largest amount. Okay, so Elon, who has taken probably the biggest amount of H100s and H200 chips from NVIDIA, has created the largest amount of compute for AI. Okay, so he has this massive database. And just recently, Larry Ellison stated they had someone call them up. And they said, we want to buy all the compute power that you have in your company. And whether you have servers in Malaysia or India or Canada or Zimbabwe or Brazil, we want to buy that space that you have, that compute space. So where we're moving right now, just to give you a big picture, as from what I see right now, which is very preliminary, we're in a place right now where companies are going to be seeking out other people that have the ability to give them bandwidth or compute power based on their servers and their computer tech. To very simply say it. That's where we're moving. Because that is going to be the limiting reagent with all this stuff. Do we have enough energy and compute power to be able to generate artificial general intelligence and lean into that? Okay? So far, am I good? Rashmi says, I use prompts that I learned from my AI group. Awesome. Smart way to go. Okay, so should we do an example? Yeah? How many do you guys want to do an example? Should we do one with ChatGPT and prompt it? And you guys will be able to hear all this. So I'm going to share my screen. Bam, look at that. Pretty cool. Okay. Let me go to this. I'll spotlight the screen. Bam. Okay. So check it out. This is ChatGPT, right? And I'm going to use the same example I used for the $800,000 office. I'm just going to narrate that here. Okay. Now here's something you all should be doing. If you go to this right here, you can go up here and start a new project because that is the brains for that project, right? So you can see I'm going to start this project and I'm going to put in there, let's say, dental office brainstorm. Let's just put that in, right? Create project. So all the chats will be visible in this area. Okay? So now, first thing I'm going to do is, remember I said you got to speak to it for 20 minutes? This is what I want you to all focus on, is this little thing down here. That's the voice button. Okay, so I'm going to give it history, right? I'm going to give it a role, and I want to give it solutions that I'm searching for. So we're going to start off with a little bit of this here. And I think when I signed up for my AI, it was like called Mandy or whatever, the name or the voice or whatever. So you can name it, you can call it whatever you want, and then go from there, okay? Hey, what's going on, Mandy? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's everything going today?
It's going great. So I'm doing a live session right now with my Dental Practice Mastery Mastermind, and we're just coaching on how to use AI. And I want to give you an example of an office from one of our members. And I want you to help me kind of think through strategy and solutions to taking it to $2 million. So I'm going to give you some history on the office, and then I want you to help me take it to, how would we take that practice to $2 million? And I want you to really act and assume the role as my marketing director and my practice growth consultant. So take that in mind, and let me give you some history on this office. So far, we do about $800,000 in collections a year. And we have 7 chairs, and we have 2 front office team members and 3 back office assistants and 1 hygienist in the practice. I am there twice a month, and the office is fully run by a dental associate who's there 4 to 5 days a week. And the only specialist that we have is an endodontist. And we do about $800,000 a year. And based on, you could look at, I can upload, production by procedure reports. But most of what we do is crown and bridge and basic bread and butter restorative work. So starting off with just this basic concept right now, how would you think through a strategy to go to $2 million a year with basically what we've been doing right now? Do I have to, modify my team? Do I got to do different dental procedures? How do I get to that $2 million a year level? I don't want to work more while doing this. I actually want to figure out a way to work less and just do the right treatment. So that way we're focusing on higher ticket, right treatment. Although that should not be the only strategy you advise me on. You want to give me the best strategy considering the world that we're living in right now, and also considering that my office is in Costa Mesa, California, and you could, look up that zip code if you want, but Costa Mesa, California, and our demographic for the patients that we see in our office is anywhere from 35 to 65 years old, and most of them are probably in the income range of $60,000 to $80,000 a year. And I want to make sure that not only do we go to $2 million a year, I want to do that in the next 2 to 3 years. What are some of the key things that we can start focusing on this year to make that happen?
All right, that sounds like a really exciting challenge. Given the current numbers and the demographics, there's definitely some room to grow. One of the first things I would suggest is looking at the range of services you offer. Since you're currently focusing on crown and bridge and restorative work, it might be worth exploring higher value treatments that appeal to that 35 to 65 age range. For example, cosmetic dentistry, maybe Invisalign, or even dental implants, if that fits with the skill set of your team. Another area to consider is optimizing the efficiency of the team and maybe bringing in additional specialists or services that can be done in-house so that you're not referring patients out. That way you keep more production in the practice. You can definitely brainstorm more details if you want to dive into any specific area.
Right. I think these are great preliminary suggestions, but I want to go deeper here. You mentioned bringing specialties in-house. Which specialty would you start with first? Like, which is a good low-hanging fruit type of specialty to bring in a general dentistry practice? Where do we start there first? The second thing is, you talked about, optimizing the team. Is it worth me getting another hygienist or another associate next? And when do I know when to make that decision?
Great questions. So, in terms of bringing a specialty in-house, one of the most impactful ones is usually an oral surgeon or a periodontist, especially if you start offering dental implants or more advanced surgical procedures. Those can be really profitable and also keep patients in-house rather than referring them out. Another great option could be adding more advanced orthodontics like Invisalign or even expanding into cosmetic treatments, which are very popular in your demographic. As for the team, deciding between another hygienist or another associate kind of depends on the patient flow and the demand for hygiene appointments. If you find that you're booked out really far in advance for cleanings, it might be beneficial to add another hygienist first. That way you can increase the volume of patients and then bring in another associate once that demand is really high. It's all about balancing the schedule and making sure that you're not overloading one side of the practice.
Okay, this is great. I love where you're going with this, but you need to give me the real stuff. Like if you and I are like meeting for dinner or for coffee and you're giving me the secret sauce to taking this office to 2 million in 3 years, like I don't want the generic formula. What would I do next? You said clear aligners or Invisalign or even cosmetic dentistry for my demographic, or even hire a periodontist or an oral surgeon. Let's make some decisions and let's pick which one to do next. Is it the periodontist or the oral surgeon? And are we going to be doing clear aligners first or more porcelain veneers and cosmetic dentistry? Knowing that I'm in Costa Mesa, California, obviously I have not uploaded any of my production by procedure numbers to you, but it's the 35 to 65 year demographic. You know that. And you know where the city I'm in. So based off of that, where would you start? And if you're going to start there, as my marketing director, how would you tell me is the most effective way to market myself? So let's unpack all of that.
All right, let's dive into the secret sauce. Given your demographic and your location in Costa Mesa, I'd say that cosmetic dentistry is a huge opportunity. So, starting with clear aligners like Invisalign and adding cosmetic procedures like veneers would be a fantastic start. People in that age range often look for ways to improve their smile, and these treatments can really elevate your practice's profile. Once you've established that, I'd say bringing in an oral surgeon might be the next step, especially if you're going to offer implants or more complex surgical procedures, because that can also add a lot of value. In terms of marketing, I'd really focus on showcasing smile transformations. Before and after photos are super powerful. You can use social media, you can do targeted ads, and even host in-office events where potential patients can learn about these services. That way, you create a community buzz and you start attracting the exact kind of patients that are looking for those services. So that would be my game plan.
Okay, this is a good start point. You've given me some good thoughts to review. Before we go, can you give me and print out, or at least a PDF, or even just narrate a plan in 5 to 10 bullets of how we get to 2 million in 3 years? Give me a structured plan with items that you've listed on how we get there in 2 to 3 years. If you can give me that, that would be good. Now I have like a business plan, or not even a business plan, but a roadmap to $2 million a year in my office.
Absolutely. Let's break it down into a roadmap with some key steps. One, expand cosmetic services, introduce Invisalign and veneers as primary new offerings. This will attract patients looking for cosmetic improvements. Add a specialty, bring in an oral surgeon to offer dental implants and other surgical procedures in-house, reducing referrals out of the office. Enhance marketing efforts, focus on social media campaigns, highlighting smile makeovers with before and after photos, and run targeted ads to attract the right demographic. Optimize team efficiency, consider adding another hygienist first if hygiene appointments are booked out, ensuring more patients can be seen regularly. Financial planning, set clear revenue targets and monitor key performance indicators regularly to ensure you're on track. Expand services gradually. After establishing cosmetic services, expand into other high value treatments like implants or even sedation dentistry if there's a demand. Community engagement, host informational events or offer free consultations for cosmetic procedures to build relationships and trust in the community. Continued education, invest in training for your team to stay on top of the latest advancements in cosmetic and surgical dentistry.
This is great. This is great. Put this in a PDF format so I don't have to listen to it right now, but put it in a PDF format so I can download it, share it with my team, and we can build on this. You mentioned hiring an oral surgeon. I don't have a contractual agreement for an oral surgeon or how to even pay them. Can you also give me an example or a sample? Can you create a sample contract that I can create for my oral surgeon so I know how to pay them? If they extract a tooth, if they graft bone, if they put a membrane in, who's paying that? Are we splitting those costs? How are we doing it? Do I have the assistant? Are they bringing the assistant? Am I paying him for the bone? Give me some sort of a contractual agreement there that in a line item way identifies these things so that way we have a contract that's a working contract for an oral surgeon. Later, we'll make these same, agreements with other specialties, but let's start with the oral surgeon first.
Absolutely. I can definitely help you structure that. So for the contract with the oral surgeon, we'd outline how compensation works for each procedure. Typically, you might agree on a percentage split of the production or collections from the procedures they perform. Usually the practice covers the cost of consumables like bone graft material or membranes, but you can specify that in the contract so there's no confusion. We'd also outline whether they bring their own assistant or use one of yours and make sure it's all really clear. I'll put all of that into a nice structured PDF for you, including the roadmap to $2 million, so you can share it with your team and have everything ready to go.
Awesome. Thanks, Mandy. I'm going to circle back. Just make sure you remember our conversation because we are going to build on this. This is the beginning of something great, and I'm looking forward to this. So thank you so much for helping me out. And we'll circle back later. Thanks again.
You're so welcome, Ranesh. I'm really excited for you and looking forward to seeing how this all unfolds. Definitely keep me posted and we will build on this together. Have a great one and we'll chat soon.
All right, I think I'm gonna go treat myself to some sweets and cakes and cookies and stuff, even though I'm a dentist.
That sounds like a fun treat.
Hey, you should advise against that. Come on, you know better, Mandy.
Haha, fair enough. Everything in moderation, right? Just make sure you enjoy those sweets and then brush and floss afterward. A
Okay.
little indulgence is always okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Enjoy your treats and have a great rest of your day. We'll chat again soon.
Okay, so then I just do that. I X out of that and check what happens. You got all of this. That's our conversation, okay? And you'll have a PDF format too. Okay, so all of this will be in there. And you can ask her to send the PDF. She'll send the PDF as well. So that's our entire conversation. Here's a bullet point.
That's crazy.
Right? Did you guys like, so look, here's a bullet point of all the stuff. How many of you, this is all like, let's break it down to a roadmap. Now you have a roadmap to go to 2 million in your practice. Now, I know I emphasize the 2 million number quite a bit. Who's using ChatGPT like that? We just had what? A 15-minute conversation with this thing? Yeah, we started, that's like 10, 15 minutes. Unreal. Who's using it like what we just did right there? So this is unreal. Like, if you're not blown away by this, then you haven't experienced it. So here's some areas that we could have optimized, okay? I could have what? I could have uploaded my unscheduled treatment plan report. I could have uploaded my production by procedure report, right? So they know what procedures, well, I shouldn't say production by procedure. Let's be specific. Collection by procedure. So they know which procedures are helping us collect the most revenue, right? So if I uploaded the collection by procedure report and I uploaded my, you know, in Dentrix there's a tab that you can print out a report that says practice statistics. Practice statistics. You can see your demographic, how old your patients are, which slice of the demographics most of your patients are under 55, 65, 35. You upload the practice statistics report, you upload the production collection by procedure report, and you upload your unscheduled treatment plans. Okay, so now it has, and they can see a trend. Oh, these are treatment plans. People are not accepting. You diagnosed 50 crowns in the last 3 weeks, and no one's doing crowns. Or you diagnosed 10 implants in the last week, and no one's taking you up on that. Hey, can you give me some suggestions on how to optimize my implant case acceptance? So I could have gone deeper here down the spiral. I want you all to know that. I could have gone way deeper, and this was just, you know, this simple conversation, but I could have gone deeper had it had the data that I uploaded from my practice management software. So if it had that data, I would have gone deeper. Now, I also got an oral surgery contract out of this conversation. They're telling me, oh yeah, you can split the bone, you can do this, get it. That advice was a little vanilla because we know that when it comes to bone, to membrane, and to the assistant, yeah, something has to work out there. But you could ask it for more clarity. Can you give me a contract that would safeguard the office so that way it's not overly spending on having an oral surgeon in the office? Exactly how much would you recommend that split to be between for the bone, for the membrane, and when I pay my oral surgeon? Or for endo, is it better for me to pay a fixed cost to my endodontist for anterior teeth, premolar teeth, and molar teeth? Or should I pay me a percentage of the collection? Now, just for full disclosure, we used to pay a fixed cost. If they did anterior teeth, we'd pay them like $300. If they did a premolar, they'd get paid like $450. And if they did a molar, they'd get paid like $650, $700. Fixed costs. And then we would collect the rest, obviously, from the patient and then insurance. So you could go down the rabbit hole even more. And literally from one conversation, you can start creating the backbone of your entire practice, the roadmap to going to the next level, and how to manage the team and the systems you currently have. So let's talk about this. Let's open it up.